What's up, y'all? This is Both Sides of the Barricade, episode 4, I guess we're on. Um, yeah, I'm outside again. I got the trailer behind me. Moved a few times with that thing. Staying with family during the corona. I'm hoping in the next week or so we open up and get back to work. Sure y'all can see this little cut. I had a little puppy do that. Top and bottom. Just playing around with a little puppy. So let's see. Episode 4, what are we going to talk about? Well, I left y'all off episode 3. I was out with Angie Stone, and it was coming to a close around 2008. And so I decided to use some of my management experience in a theme park at Universal Studios, Florida. So I went and applied there and got a stage manager position, mainly because I had played an event there with Angie Stone and Macy Gray. So I made those connections when I was there. I used to live right behind Universal, so it was pretty easy to commute. And I was kind of getting tired of the road. Not tired, but just, I guess, looking for something different to do besides always traveling all the time. I was still living in Orlando, so I decided to take position as a stage manager at Universal Studios in Florida. And I did that for what they call a season, I guess. I mean, I worked Halloween and Christmas, and then after that I got a call to go on the road again. And this time it was for Sean Kingston, who was right at the height of Beautiful Girls, and you know his hits, Take You There, and when I was with him, Fire Burning came out, or he was working on it. So I took the position as tour manager, and he had a band, a DJ at the time, and a valet assistant, whatever you want to call it, hype man, that kind of double and triple the roles when they're out there. We also had security. And the first show that I did with him was in Fiji, of all places, Suva, Fiji, which I'd never been to Fiji, so it was a nice place to start. That's actually where I met everybody, because we were flying from different places. So you meet a new crew that you're going to be managing, and it's all the way across the world at your first show that you end up taking. So let's see. After Fiji, I did a lot with Sean. I mean, on the television side, we did MTV, Made. Do y'all remember Made on MTV? We did that. We did, let's see, Dancing with the Stars. Did the Alma Awards. Yeah, man, like the TV was fun. You're dealing with a pop artist, hip hop artist. So he was in the middle of that album cycle for Beautiful Girls and starting to work on another record. When we got that new record, the musician in me wanted to hire a band that could not only play that record and be polished, but also at that time, Diddy's making the band, MTV's making his band, making Diddy's band, whatever that was just wrapping up. And a bunch of my buddies from there, Chuck Gibson, Byron Thomas, Mook Agnew, old James on drums. These are some of the guys that were in MTV's making his band. So not only did Sean get played on MTV, but now to have a backing band that comes from an MTV show, I saw that connection there. I put those guys together. We went and rehearsed a show, Center Staging out there in LA. Y'all know where it is. We rehearsed a show for a couple days. And when I say we, as a tour manager, sure, logistically I set it all up, make the payment arrangements, book the schedule, all that. But in the actual rehearsal as a musician, my ears don't fail me. They don't just go away. They don't just say, oh, well, this is cool, they're making music. I was already familiar with Sean's music for quite some time. I've been touring, and these guys were starting to play the music, and there's a couple things that in a track that are prominent that I was pointing out that needed to be there that I didn't hear. And then I'm looked at like a calf at a new gate, because why is our tour manager telling us about music? We should just tour manage. Well, I'm not a tour manager. I was a musician playing the role of a tour manager, working with other musicians. So to this day, there's still a lot of those crew that I roll with or had rolled with that look at me and they're like, "You play music?" I'm like, "Yeah." Got the credits, got the history, got the past, got the t-shirt, got whatever you want to call it. You know, my goal was not to pursue music in just one area or avenue. I wasn't just going to be a jazz drummer. I wasn't just going to be a pop drummer. I wasn't going to just be even a drummer. I wanted to produce artists. I wanted to write songs. And those things, now that I'm starting to do those again, I look back at all the experience I had on the road, all the experience in front of a crowd that is reacting to the songs in real time, and a crowd that, if you are a musician and you're paying attention to their response, you're also paying attention to the songs they're responding to, the arrangement, the flow, the style, the set. So yeah, with Sean, I was big on that. I wanted to see more and more of the music come through. There was a time where, you can have a bunch of hits, but if you run them too fast together, the show's too quick, and then there's really no like flow. And so I was taking those things into account when I was rehearsing the band. And then on a date in Laos, Vientiane, Laos, or Lao, however you pronounce it, we were doing a show for Tigo, I believe it is, which is a cellular company there. And this was the first show where I told Sean, I said, "Hey, let me make the set list and let's just see how the show goes." And, I'll let it speak for itself. The show was banging. Where were we? Vientiane, Laos recorded its first traffic jam that night after the show. I mean, thousands, 30, 40,000 people plus were at this show. Suva, Fiji, where I first started, it was like 70,000, 80,000 people. I'm just staring out over a sea of people at this show like, what? So after that that show in Vientiane, Laos, where I got the ability to not dictate how the crowd is going to react or respond, but to curate a set and make up a set that I felt musically would flow. It would have ups and downs. It would be the roller coaster that we're all familiar with. It's just like a song. You want to write something that intrigues people and takes them for a ride, and you want the show to do the same thing. So now I'm out with Sean Kingston. We've done, I don't know, a year and a half, and I'm burnt out. Let's just go ahead and say it. The road will get to you, especially if you've been doing it for a while and go back out and do it, and then are running on a burning pop artist schedule with songs at number one. Like, there's no stopping. You're home for a day or two, if that. My roommates love me. I paid rent and was never home. Those things I wouldn't do again. I wouldn't pay rent and then go on the road. Literally, probably in 9 months, I was home maybe 1 month out of the span of 9, and consecutively days, 5 days, maybe a week off. If we had 10 days off, it was shocking. Something must have happened that caused us to stop or, take a break. So yeah, that eventually led to me, wanting to do something else. And so I was, trying to figure out the next step after working with Sean Kingston for so many, dates and shows. I mean, 18 months flew by because of all the shows. And, I'm sure I'm leaving some out. I mean, there was so much that we did that, I can't even like. Oh, Africa. Okay, there we go. First time I went to Africa. Only time I've been to Africa. Did Nigeria, Lagos. We were supposed to do a show in Abuja, but production kind of had a hiccup, and that didn't happen. But being that I was the only Awimbo white person, uh, you know, it was like armed guards were with us every time. We couldn't leave the compound. We were at a hotel with a fence around it in Nigeria. Johannesburg and Cape Town were much different, but you're still in Africa. I went on a safari down near Cape Town. That was pretty cool. Seeing lions and giraffes and all this stuff. I mean, petted a cheetah. Who does what? Huh? So yeah, this is what music will do for you if you follow it. You never know where you're going to end up, what you might do, what you might, not expect. I remember when we were in China, it's another place. I went to Beijing, went to Hong Kong, went to Shanghai, all with Sean. We were there, and watchmaker, Voila Watches, if you want to check them out online. The owner was a fan of Sean's and gifted him a watch, and looked at me, looked at my wrist, and said, "You don't have a watch?" And I was like, "I don't really wear watches. I don't like them. They don't suit my style. I never found one that was, suitable for me." So he proceeded to say, "Well, I'm going to build you a watch and send me your address. Give me your address. I'll send you a watch." And I was, you do these things. You don't really know if it's going to happen or not. And when I got back to the States, sure enough, a few weeks later, I checked my mail, registered, certified, whatever you want to call it. I had to go pick it up from the post office. There it is. Beautiful Voila watch. That was a gift. So these unexpected occurrences happen all the time in music. Think about the video shoots I used to work on where clothes didn't fit, or that person didn't want the clothes, but the clothes were bought and paid for. And I've got some cool, expensive, nice Armani, Dolce & Gabbana, just name brand stuff that was just like a fall by the wayside piece of clothing that just happened to end up in my hands as working on those shoots. The coolest, oh man, the coolest part about these Kingston dates and experiences is I got to meet the one and only David Foster, who was producing a song. I think Ayaz ended up doing it with the artist he was working with, but a song called Pyramid, I think. Anyhow, Sean was in the studio and David Foster was producing it, and somewhere out there's a photo somewhere of me with the production crew, people that were, the producers inside, the engineer, with David Foster and Sean Kingston. I don't know who's got it, but it's out there. I'd love to get a hold of it. So yeah, that was by far one of the coolest experiences working with Sean, is getting to meet the one and only David Foster. If you don't know who he is, just go look him up. You'll be amazed. All right, so coming to an end, I flat out just left the European tour. I was really over it. I flew back home, and I had some things in the works, but by now it's coming up on Christmas 2009-ish, somewhere in there, January, and I get a call from my cousin, and my cousin says, "Hey, do you remember my roommate back in 2000, and you were on tour with Brian, and you brought us to a concert, and blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "No, I don't remember anything about your roommate, at least, not at the time I didn't." Well, my cousin informs me that his former roommate has just signed a record deal with Animoctone and has Randy Jackson as a manager, and they're getting ready to embark on their tour in 2010. So this is January. Let's fast forward to February. I agree to go check this band out in Jacksonville and go listen to them, go talk to them, go chat with Mr. Aswan North, who was the lead singer of the band Paper Tongues. I had a lot of interest in working with them, mainly because it was a little different than what I'd been doing with the hip-hop and R&B. And yeah, they were technically in the alternative rock and roll category. We'll save that till the next episode, but I appreciate y'all hanging out and listening. This is Both Sides of the Barricade with me, Mr. Joel Paraso, drummer, tour manager, singer. I mean, I hate titles, but I'll do whatever it needs to be done in music because I can get it done. Peace, y'all. Thanks.